When I was in the trial, I didn't testify about fossils because I don't really know anything about fossils. But I do know a little bit about RNA and DNA. And just before the trial started, Nature published, this is 2 weeks before the trial started, Nature published the DNA sequence of the chimpanzee genome. I read the papers in Nature, I called up the attorneys, and I said, gentlemen, this is a gift from God. And we have to... And we have to bring this into the courtroom. Now, I want to show you why. This is from the lead article. More than a century ago, Darwin and Huxley proposed that we humans have recent common ancestors with the African great apes. Modern molecular studies have spectacularly confirmed this prediction. Indeed, they had. But we had a problem. And that is a lot of this data is really technical. I mean, if I got on the stand and I testified about the degree of conservation of synteny, the judge's eyes would have glazed over. We had, with no offense intended to anyone in the audience, we had to boil this down into terms that were so simple that even an attorney could understand them. So I want to show you how we did this. And these are the slides that I actually used in the trial. We've known for a long time, fossil evidence, genetics, biogeography, that we share recent common ancestors with the great apes, gorillas, chimpanzees, orangs, and so forth. But the interesting thing about it is we humans carry 46 chromosomes. All the other great apes have 48. Now, the biologists in the room know that those 46 chromosomes are actually 23 pairs of chromosomes. We each got 23 chromosomes from mom and 23 from dad. A baby chimp gets 24 from mom and 24 from dad. Now, if we have a lineage with these guys, where's our missing pair of chromosomes? What happened to it? Is it possible, for example, that in the line leading to us, a pair of chromosomes, just went missing? It just got lost, they got trashed, and that's why we're missing a pair. The answer is no. Any geneticist will tell you there are so many important genes on every primate chromosome that the loss of both members of a homologous pair would be fatal. I mean, you wouldn't even get through embryonic development. So there's only one possibility that is consistent with evolutionary common ancestry, and that is the two chromosomes that are still separate in other primates must have gotten accidentally stuck together to form a single chromosome in us. This kind of accident happens so often, it actually has a name. It's called a Robertsonian translocation. And this would explain how we went from 24 pairs down to 23. So it's the evolutionary explanation. But here's why evolution is science and not conjecture. If that's true, we can test it. Somewhere in our genome, there must be a fused chromosome. In other words, we got to be able to look at our chromosomes and find the Scotch tape that is holding these two chromosomes together. And if we don't find it, then the evolutionary hypothesis of common ancestry is refuted. But how would we find that chromosome? Well, it's a lot easier than you might think. And again, the biologist in the audience can explain this to you. The tips of chromosomes have unique DNA sequences that are only found in the tips. They're called telomeres. And on this slide, I've colored those tips in blue. Near the center of the chromosome, there's an equally unique region called the centromere. I've colored that in red. If one of our chromosomes was formed by the fusion of two chromosomes, you know what that chromosome should look like? It should have telomere DNA in the middle where it doesn't belong. And you know what else? It should carry two centromeres. So all we have to do to test evolution is to look at our genome and see, do we have a chromosome that fits that very specific description? Well, the answer is, yeah, it's human chromosome number 2. And this is from a paper that appeared in the same year. Human chromosome number 2 is unique to the human lineage. It emerged as a result of the head-to-head fusion of two chromosomes that are still separate in other primates. If you haven't followed how much we know about our genome, this may surprise you. The precise fusion site is between bases 114,455,823. We know where the Scotch tape is that holds these 2 points together. Do we have telomeres in the middle? Yup. And do we have two centromeres? Absolutely. One of the centromeres has become inactivated. That makes the chromosome more stable in cell division, but we can still recognize it. And the centromeres correspond to primate chromosomes 12 and 13. Is there any way that we can explain these facts? And these are facts, ladies and gentlemen. Are there any way that we can explain these facts in light of the hypothesis that our species was uniquely designed or specially created? The answer is no. About the only way you could explain that is if that designer or creator wanted to fool us into thinking we had evolved by rigging chromosome 2 with phony evidence. And I don't think anyone's prepared to buy that. And again, as one of my colleagues said, as you'll see in a second, we got the genes too, and we also win the argument. Now you might be interested in what my friend Neil Shubin, the paleontologist, says about this DNA evidence. So I thought I'd let you, sorry, forgot how I'd done these slides. There it is again, but here's Neil, I think.
Darwin didn't even know about molecular biology and DNA, yet that's where some of the most profound evidence is being uncovered today. Think about that. That somebody in the 1800s made predictions that are being confirmed in molecular biology labs today. That's a very profound statement of a very successful theory.
And that's exactly how I would describe it, a very profound statement about a very successful theory. Now, the real killer in this trial was an analysis of this textbook, Pandas in People. And